What's good, fam? Thanks for joining me on another GoatFormat video. So before we get started, I just wanted to give everybody a big thanks for supporting me. I think yesterday I hit 350 subscribers, which I know isn't a lot to most people, but it's a lot to me. I've only been doing this for about 2 months and a half, so I didn't think I was going to get this many subscribers so soon. So just a big thank you to all of you guys. Just to let you guys know also, I'm always open to new ideas, so if there's anything that you guys want me to test out, any kind of new content you guys want to see, just let me know in the comments down below. Also, if there's any tweaks you want me to do to my channel, also just let me know, and I'll try to get to that as soon as I can. But enough of that, guys. So this match was actually sent to me by somebody who's always commenting on my videos. So big shout outs to Turniphead for sending me this match. On Dueling Network, their username is Picklehead, I'm assuming. But yeah, so they sent me this about a week ago. But anyways, let's just hop into this match and see who's gonna win this rock paper scissors. So Picklehead's gonna get the rock paper scissors, and I'm assuming they're gonna choose to go first. When they sent me this match, Picklehead's rating was a 122, and Perfectionism has a 991 rating. So this should be a really good match. Let's see what's gonna happen here. So Picklehead's opening hand is Knock Breaker, Dakochi, Tsukiyomi, and Snatch Steal, which is a pretty solid hand, nothing too spectacular. Perfectionism's hand is Jar of Greed, Tsukiyomi, Upstart, Thunder Dragon, and Graceful Charity. So Perfectionism opened the bomb hand. 6th card for Picklehead is Sangan. So he can go ahead and set this Sangan if he wants to bait out the Nobleman. And not get his Dakochi Nobleman, or he can just set the Dakochi, try to get the flip off. The problem is, obviously, guys, if he sets Dakochi and his opponent's playing Warriors, this Dakochi's not going to go off. So maybe the safer play is to just set the Sangan, but let's just see what Picklehead's going to do. So he's going to summon Sangan just to make sure that it doesn't get Nobleman, which is perfectly fine. Also, if he swings in with something big, he has a Snatch Steal and Tsukiyomi play to answer it, so this isn't a big deal whatsoever. Perfectionism's next card is Chaos Sorcerer, so I'm assuming they're going to activate Thunder Dragon now. After Thunder Dragon, activate Upstart Goblin, then activate Graceful Charity. So off of the Upstart Goblin, he draws Book of Moon, and from the Graceful Charity, he draws a Dark Mimic. Tsukiyomi and Sangan is the last card. So you could just go ahead now and chuck these 2 Thunder Dragons, and then set Dark Mimic. The problem here is that he has a Nobleman across out, so that's unfortunate. But you're not really reading that. Another thing you can do is summon this Sangan and just force him to crash in. But let's just check out his next play. So he's actually going to get rid of the second Tsukiyomi to put the Dark in the graveyard, which puts the Chaos Sorcerer play open now. So he might just summon this Chaos Sorcerer, which is, I'm assuming, because he chucked the Thunder Dragon. And then after that, set a Book of Moon with the Jar of Greed and the Dark Mimic. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, Banish Light and Dark obviously gets rid of the Sangan. Sets the Dark Mimic in both cards. The reason this was not such a bad play is because Book of Moon is going to save him from almost anything. Let's say Picklehead draws into, let's say Picklehead is holding on to a Graceful Charity, draws into a Thunder Dragon, and then puts the Lights and Darks in the graveyard. The Book of Moon is going to save that from a Chaos Sorcerer. It's also going to save this from a Snatch Steal. So that wasn't a bad play at all. Passes over, Picklehead draws into another Tsukiyomi. So I'm assuming he's just going to go ahead and try to activate Snatch Steal now. That's going to get countered by Book of Moon. So now he can go ahead and summon this Breaker, try to go for the backfield, and hit the other face down. The reason for that is because you have a Nobleman, and you're kind of forced to Nobleman one of these 2 cards. So you might as well try to kill the other one, and then Nobleman the second one, but those are just obvious plays. Summon Breaker. Breaker is going to hit the Jar. Jar is going to draw himself a card. So just immediately knock the face down Sorcerer, swing into the face down Mimic, draw another card. So he drew Tomato and Snatch Steal off of those draws. And there's nothing else for Picklehead to do, so he has to pass turn. Perfectionism draws into a Scapegoats. So he could go ahead and summon the Tsukiyomi and Smack and set Scapegoats. But that's going to leave him with the open board, and he might be forced to activate the Scapegoats. The safer play right now is to set the Tomato. I'm assuming he's playing other dark mimics, so he can just go ahead and search that out. Or if he really wants to, he can just set the Sangan now, so he can get the Sinister play. But let's see what happens here. He goes ahead and summons Tsukiyomi, smacks the Breaker, sets Scapegoats and passes. Picklehead draws into Nobleman across out, so there's really not much he can do here. He's just going to set this to Gochi. Maybe set the Nobleman if he wants to bluff. Passes over. Perfectionism draws into another Chaos Sorcerer, which is actually live. So you know the Sangan is not going to get through this face down. When people were playing just Goat control, like pure Goat control, Sangan can smack almost any face down monster and kill it. But nowadays people are playing Dekochi, Spies, Mystic Tomatoes, even the Dark Mimic. Sangan's not going to get through any face down, guys. So I wouldn't ever swing at a face down with the Sangan. He could just go ahead and summon this Mystic Tomato if he really wants to, just to man up on the face down. You can tell that it's probably like a Dekochi. The worst thing it can be is a Gravekeeper Spy. So you can just go ahead and summon this tomato and start manning up. There's really not much to do besides that. So he's going to summon the Sangan, which is not the best play to do right now. Draws into a Thunder Dragon. Passes over, draws into a Magician of Faith. So obviously you're going to activate this Thunder Dragon now. Magician of Faith isn't going to get you anything. You could go ahead and summon the Tsukiyomi, but then that leads you into a tribute play, so maybe you don't want to do that. But let's see what he's going to do. Obviously he's going to chuck this Thunder Dragon. Get himself 2 more Thunder Dragons. Maybe he wants to summon the Tsukiyomi now to activate the Nobleman, but now he's just wasting another Nobleman if he does that. A safe play would be setting a Tsukiyomi, because then if he swings into it, then the Dekochi gets flipped face down again and he can just flip it back up. I would assume that Perfectionism doesn't have another monster, because I would think that he would swing in with that monster, but those are just my reads. He could also just set the Magician of Faith to try to get himself another Nobleman across out. But again, guys, let's just see what the play goes, how the play goes. So he's going to summon the Tsukiyomi and then try to flip. The Dekochi draws into a duo, which is pretty good. This play kind of led him into a Torrential Tribute, so I mean, I wouldn't have done it personally. But let's see what happens here. Now also if he swings, he's losing this Tsukiyomi, which isn't a bad thing. I'm assuming also that this is a Mirror Force. You always have to look at the worst case scenarios. If he swings, he loses the Tsukiyomi, which isn't that big of a deal. But he's going to duo, and he has 2 Thunder Dragons in his hand, so he's only going to have 3 cards in his hand, really. And he's going to have 5, 6, 7 cards with his draw. But let's see what happens here. He's going to activate duo off the rip. Hits the Chaos Sorcerer, which was a good hit. Thunder Dragon is going to be the next card, obviously. Now he's going to man up. No, so he doesn't man up, which is an okay play. Maybe I would have tried to get that Mirror Force out of the way. But him keeping this Dekochi on the board gives him board presence. The unfortunate thing is that obviously Perfectionism has a Mystic Tomato, so he's just going to crash that in. But Perfectionism draws into a Metamorphosis. So he could potentially swing in with the Sangan before the Tomato to get himself the Serpent. But let's see what the play is going to be here. So summons Tomato, that's going to bump heads. Hopefully he plays Spirit Reaper. So he doesn't play Spirit Reaper, so he just gets himself another Tomato, which is fine. Swing with both. Honestly, I would have just hit with the Sangan also and got the Serpents in my hand, because he has this Metamorphosis. But anyways, Picklehead draws into a Scapegoats. Obviously he's just going to set the Scapegoats. He can also just set the Tsukiyomi also, so that he doesn't take any damage. But let's see what goes on here. So that's exactly what he does. Passes over. Perfectionism draws into a Magician of Faith. So there's not much to do here. You swing at the face down with the Tomato, and then try to get in with the Sangan. But let's see what he does. So that's exactly the play. You flip the Tsukiyomi back down so you can keep the board presence. Switch Sangan to defense mode, I'm assuming. So he forgets to do that, which is it's funny, but I guess it's fine. Sets the Magician of Faith, so he's looking to get this Graceful Charity back. Passes over. Picklehead draws into a Regeki break. So it's good that he didn't go for the Tsukiyomi play before, so now he has a Nobleman to get rid of this Magician. So activate, obviously get the Magician of Faith out. So this is something a lot of Chaos players are doing now, so they're going for the triple Magician of Faith because it's just a blowout when you draw it with a power spell. Let's see what Picklehead's doing. Let's see if he's playing 3. So he just banishes the 1. Now you're going to set the Magician of Faith, set the Regeki Break also. Pass over. Perfectionism draws into a Chaos Orc. So he has to man up now. He really can't summon this Orc, so he's just going to swing with everything. Hits the face down. Hits the Magician of Faith. He could go for this duo. He could go for a Snatch Steal also. Snatch might be the better card. But let's see what he does. So he goes for the duo. Now he switches to Sangan to defense mode. And he's just going to pass turn here. So Picklehead's going to draw into a Tribe Infecting Virus. I'm assuming he's just going to do it off the rip now. Hits a Tsukiyomi. The next card to be chucked could be the Snatch Steal, because Metamorphosis is a 1000 Eyes Restrict once this Sangan dies. The Chaos Sorcerer is live right now, so that's not going to get discarded. So he gets rid of the Metamorphosis. Maybe he's hoping to draw into another one. And at this point, I mean, you could summon Tribe Infecting Virus, but all it's doing is hitting this tomato. You could just pass now. There's not really much to do again. Yep, just says go. Perfectionism draws into Pot of Greed, which is awesome. Activates Pot, draws a Nobleman, another Jar of Greed. So I'm assuming the Nobleman's going to hit this Tsukiyomi so that he can try to get in now. Puts everything in attack mode again, swings. So he takes the 1000, takes the 14. No, so he scapegoats to 14, which is fine. One of the ghosts is going to get hit. Sets Jar of Greed and then passes turn. A Picklehead draws into Tomato. So let's see. Sangan got banished. Depending on what he plays, he could set this Tomato. I don't know if he plays a Reaper, but that would be a good card to get right now. The problem with getting the Reaper is if he tries to man up with this Orc, then it's game. So let's see what happens here. So he summons the Tomatoes, tries to bump heads. That's going to get Perfectionism, a Dark Mimic. And another Tomato for Picklehead. Swings to the Dark Mimic, he's just going to draw himself a card. Gets a Mirror Force. Then Perfectionism draws Duo. So he may not even activate this because he knows he's playing with Thunder Dragons. Let's see what happens here. He might just go ahead and summon this Chaos Sorcerer. So he's gonna duo. He's gonna go 50-50, try to hit something that's not a Thunder Dragon. Oh wow, he rolled twice. Okay, so he gets rid of the Thunder Dragon. Picklehead gets rid of the Thunder Dragon. After the Tsukiyomi gets discarded, swing at a Scapegoat. That's gonna go through, just pass over. So he does play a Reaper. Picklehead draws into a Reaper. So he could just set this now also if he wants to and put the Tomato in defense mode. So let's see what happens here. So he hits the Tomato. I mean, he hits the Sangan. That's going to get him a Sinister. I just pass over. Perfectionism draws into Upstart Goblin, which is good for Picklehead. So he plays Upstart Goblin, draws into a Metamorphosis. I'm assuming he's going to summon this Chaos Sorcerer now. No, so he goes for the Sinister Serpent and the Metamorphosis play. And this might eat the Regeki Break. So that goes through, which is fine. Okay, so that could have eaten the Regeki Break and that would have opened up a play for Chaos Sorcerer. So that was a really good play there. Swings with the Tomato hitting a token. 1000 Eyes Restrict, I'm sorry, hitting a token, passes over. Picklehead draws into a Chaos Sorcerer. So he might just go ahead and summon this Tribe now to get rid of the 1000 Eyes Restrict. This way he can hold the Chaos Sorcerer for a Chaos play for Perfectionism. But let's see what happens here. So he goes ahead and summons the Chaos Orc. Banishes Light and Dark. That's going to get rid of 1000 Eyes Restrict, summon Reaper. He's playing right into cards. I mean, he doesn't have the Torrential, but he's really playing into cards. Swings for 300. That's going to get Scapegoated. He hits 1. Passes over. Perfectionism draws into a Heavy Storm. And let's see what he does here. I'm assuming he's going to summon this Sorc now to get rid of this Sorc. But let's see what happens. Get back his Sinister Serpent. Light and Dark. Drop the Sorcerer. Hit the other Sork. Sets the Mirror Force and passes. Picklehead draws into Scapegoats. So Picklehead might deck out Perfectionism this game. Let's see what happens here. Summons Tribe Infecting Virus. He's going to call Spellcasters. Okay, so he's going to call the Goats too, chucking his Scapegoats. Swings. This is going to get hit by the Mirror Force. That's unfortunate, right? Draws into a Nobleman. Obviously, I think he's going to activate this Jar now. Jar gets Torrential Tribute. So set Torrential and pass. Both Noblemans are gone. So he can go ahead and set this Serpent also. He didn't do it. But passes over. Picklehead draws into a Heavy Storm. Passes. Perfectionism draws Book of Moon. He still might deck him out. Maybe he doesn't have anything else. I know. Well, he has a BLS. He has BLS with the Heavy Storm. And there's also a Breaker in the deck, I think. Yeah, Breaker's also in the deck. So he could go for game soon. Draws into a Book of Moon. Passes over. Draws into a ring. Yeah, he could really go for game soon. So passes over, draws into the ring himself. Sets the ring, says go. Draws Jar of Greed. Sets Jar, passes, draws into a Serpent. Passes, draws BLS, so that's one piece. He can go ahead and set Book of Moon if he wants to. No, so he activates Heavy Storm, which is, yeah, okay, so this is the game shot because he's got the Ring of Destruction. So activates Heavy Storm, obviously everything's gonna go, and now this is game, guys. Oh man, but this Book of Moon, right? So let's see what happens here. Activate Heavy, the ring's gonna try to go off, chain Book of Moon. Yeah, so that's unfortunate, right? Maybe you should have just waited for the Breaker. Activated Pot of Greed, get Regeki, Breaking Metamorphosis. So now you can just sit on this Restrict, right? Let's see what happens. Yeah, that was kind of butt cheeks on Perfectionism's part. I'm assuming he has the Breaker. He's gonna pass. Draw. Let's see what happens here. So he doesn't play Breaker in the main deck? Yeah, so that kind of cost him the game, right? I guess he had to do that then. Yeah, so that's game one, guys. That's unfortunate. So game two, Perfectionism is going to go first. So opening hand is Chaos Sork, Jar of Greed, Upstart, Tsukiyomi, and Ring of Destruction. Picklehead's opening hand is Scapegoats, Nobleman, Scapegoats. Duo and Moth 6 card is Thunder Dragon, so activate Thunder Dragon off the rip. Activate Upstart Goblin, let's see what he draws. Draws into Moth. So set Moth, set these two, and passes the play. Picklehead draws into his own Ring of Destruction. So Nobleman set Ring Goats with the Magician. Yeah, passes over to Perfectionism. That draws an Asura Priest, so I'm assuming he's going to man up with this Asura Priest. Maybe first he wants to activate this Jar of Greed and see what he draws. So he doesn't do it. He just swings with the Asura Priest. That might get ringed. That might get ranged because it's just a problem to get rid of these spirit monsters. So ring's gonna come down. Passes turn, draws into a tomato. So now he can go ahead and go for the duo play because that's gonna rip the whole hand out. But let's see what he does. So he's gonna go for the duo, hit Suki, Thunder Dragon's gonna get pitched, now flip Magician. Gets the duo back, he's gonna chain Jar of Greed to duo to get Graceful. So let's see what happens here. Hits Sork, Thunder Dragon's gonna get pitched now too. And you could poke and set this. You only have really Scapegoats, so if you summon and gets Torrentialed, then you're only up one card on your draw phase. That's assuming Perfectionism doesn't draw into a power spell. So let's see what he does here. So he's going to summon. And obviously, I'm saying if this is a Mirror Force or a Torrential Tribute, then that would be the case. So Perfectionism is going to take them both. Draws himself into a Snatch Steal. He's going to activate Graceful Charity, getting Upstart, Knock, and Mind Control. So he might get rid of this Knock and Mind Control because he's not doing anything right now. Activate Upstart Goblin, draws into Jar of Greed, which doesn't do much either. Sets the jar and passes over. Picklehead's going to draw Thunder Dragon, so he could just swing first and then activate Thunder Dragon, which is what he does. Swings for 14, pitches Thunder Dragon, gets himself another another copy. Yeah, a pair of Thunder Dragons. Passes over. Perfectionism draws into a Book of Moon. So there's not much to do here either. You can activate this jar now, which I'm assuming is going to be the play because you got to answer some of this stuff. So activate Jar of Greed, gets himself a Kaiku. Kaiku's not doing much either here, right? So activate Snatch Steal and Book of Moon. He's going to get himself that Graceful Charity again, which isn't the best play. That's kind of a desperation play, guys. Activates Graceful, gets himself Mirror Force, another Jar of Greed, and a Dark Mimic. So yeah, this is tough. Maybe get rid of the Jar of Greed and the Mimic. Unless you want to just keep digging into your deck, then you're going to keep the Dark Mimic. This is hard. I'm assuming Jar of Greed is the first card to go. Okay, so Mimic and Mirror Force, which is a little weird. Summons Kaiku, activates Ring, so he's going to try to get in with this. It's just going to get scapegoated. That's going to bait out the goats, so he's going to swing at both goats. Sets jar and passes. Picklehead draws into Book of Moon. So set another Book of Moon. Set the book and set another goats might be the play right now. There's obviously not much to do here. He's just going to set the Book of Moon. So he's going to activate Jar of Greed here. No, so no Jar of Greed. I'm assuming he's hoping he hits these Jar of Greeds, which is why he's not activating them. But anyways, he draws into a Tsukiyomi, which was an awesome card to draw right now. Flips the Magician down, flips it back up, gets Graceful. No, so gets the Book of Moon for protection, which is an awesome play, right? Starts swinging with everything. And this is going to get Book of Moon, I'm assuming, because he doesn't want him to get rid of this Light and Dark. Nope, he's the 18. That's why I would have set the Scapegoats. Sets the Book of Moon, passes, draws himself into Chaos Orc, which is dead right now, so he's just going to set the Scapegoats. Passes over, draws into Duo. I think, yeah, you can't really afford to Duo right now, right? Maybe go for the Magician of Faith play first. Let's think about this, guys, right? So this is pretty tough right now. You could, if he just swings, then Mirror Force blows him out. If he duos, he's left at 800, and he's forced to use this Book of Moon defensively. Maybe he activates this jar now. Let's see. So he just duos off the rip. Leaves him at 800. He's going to hit a Thunder Dragon. Oh, no. So he's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hitting the Chaos Sorcerer. Thunder Dragon's going to get chucked now. Let's see. Swing with everything. So I'm guessing he's just going to swing with the Kaiku. Yep. Tsukiyomi's going to come down. Magician of Fate's going to flip back up. So I'm assuming this sec was just to be like kind of a bluff. Let's see what he's going to get himself. Gets himself Nobleman. Gets his Tsukiyomi back. Passes over. Picklehead draws into Pot of Greed. Pot's going to draw him Sangan and Knock. So this Sangan is going to swing at this Faith. But let's see what happens. Book of Moon's going to set the Magician. Probably getting the Graceful now. Yeah, getting back the Graceful. Passes over. Perfectionism draws Torrential Tribute. So activate Jar of Greed, getting the Serpent, which was awesome, right? Activate Graceful Charity. Gets another knock, a Sangan, and a Metamorphosis. So this is not ideal. He's obviously going to pitch the Serpent. Maybe pitch the knock as well. And then let's see what he can do. He can swing, getting rid of these lights, and then sets Sangan with Torrential Tribute. So far, that's the play, right? So the Sangan is going to search Serpent, set Sangan in Torrential, pass over. Picklehead draws into Reaper. So Perfectionism has 10 cards in his deck, so he could lose two ways. He could just deck out again, or he's going to lose by life points. This Reaper, though, tells me he's going to deck out. Let's see what happens here. Activates Knock, getting rid of the Sangan. Sets the Reaper, pass. Perfectionism draws into Chaos Sork. Gets back his Serpent. Swing at a Goat. Nobleman now. Passes over by setting the Serpent. Draws into Scapegoats. Wow, right? So sets Scapegoats, sets the Serpent. I think he's going for another deck out, right? Flips and then activates Torrential, which is unfortunate because he hit the Sork. I mean the Serpent, so he's going to activate Heavy Storm now, so obviously he's going to chain this Scapegoats. I'm sure Perfectionism is just so tight right now. Banish Light and Dark. Sork's going to get rid of one of these Scapegoats. Be funny if he draws into like a Sork. Or if he draws into a BLS. Summon Suki to book it, passes over. Picklehead draws into Tsukiyomi, so get back your Serpent. And set it now. There's really not much to do. You can just set it. Yeah, it passes over. Perfectionism draws into Mimic. Get back your Sinister. Swing at a Scapegoats and just set the Mimic. Okay, so he's gonna go for the meta play. That was a little ballsy. I mean, both Magician of Fates are gone already. You only saw Tomato. I think he saw Dekochi also. So, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have done that. He's going to go for the face down and hit the Serpent. Passes over, draws into Sork. So, Sork. He'd have to pitch the Thunder Dragon and then Sork. Let's see. Sork, maybe the Sork. I'm assuming he's gonna have to Sork the Sork. So Sork the Sork, and then I guess swing with the Tsukiyomi. Passes over, draws into another Sorcerer. So this Sorcerer is going to come down now. Banishing the other Sorcerer. And then set Serpent. Is Snatch still gone? So Snatch isn't gone. So maybe it's Sorcerer, summon Tsukiyomi. Let's see what happens here. Sets the Mimic, passes over, draws into Regeki Break. So sets Regeki Break, Tsukiyomi's down, and then hits the other card. Mimic draws him a card, passes over. Perfectionism draws Pot of Greed, which is not what he wanted to see. So let's see what he does here. Banish one of the tokens, Tsukiyomi down. Okay, so he sets the Tsukiyomi. Picklehead draws into Dekochi. So let's see what happens here. I guess just set the Dekochi, right? You could set Tsukiyomi if you want to just wall up. Draws into BLS. BLS might hit this face down. Let's see, Torrential's not gone, right? Yeah, none of the power traps are gone. So let's see what happens here. Sort the token, flips, flip, light and dark, banish the face down, tries to go in, that's gonna get Regeki braked. And then Suki's gonna go in. Let's see what he draws. Draws into Mirror Force, which is great. Gets himself back his Sinister Serpent. So, I mean, do you set everything? You could set everything. You could set the Serpent. No, if he sets the Serpent, he's not going to swing in. Well, if he sets the Serpent, he might banish, summon the Tsukiyomi, and then that goes 2 for 1. So let's see what happens here. Tsukiyomi down. Say go. So now he's thinking Torrential Tribute. Perfectionism draws into meta. Flips and swings. That's going to get Mirror Forced. Sets his Serpent. Passes over. Draws a Serp Priest. Now you can set the Tsukiyomi. But let's see what happens. Yep, Satsuki passes. Perfectionism draws into Scapegoats. So meta now. Hits the Tsukiyomi. Swings for 11. That's going to leave him at 100. And Picklehead is going to draw. Dun dun dun. Let's see what he draws. Draws into Snatch Steal, which does nothing. So a Serp Priest hit the Thousand Eyes. Yeah. Thousand Eyes dies. Sets a bluff. A bluff Snatch Steal. Perfectionism draws into a meta, and this is game. Wow, that sucks, guys. Let's see. He could. Oh no, he has a Serpent, so he could summon Serpent and swing. Is he gonna remember that? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's game 2. Oh, all right. So that was dope. I thought that Perfectionism was gonna lose out a deck out again. Okay, so let's see how game 3 goes, guys. So busted hand by Picklehead, right? Picklehead draws Duo Pot, Book of Moon, Thunder Dragon, and Spirit Reaper. Perfectionism's hand is Thunder Dragon that he always draws on his opener. He always draws one of these Jar of Greeds. He has a Serpent, 2 Jar of Greeds, and Snatch Steal. Next card for Picklehead is Magician of Faith. So he's been watching my videos. I'm assuming he's going to duo now first. Duo is going to come down, hitting the Snatch Steal. Obviously, Serpent's going to get pitched. Now activate Thunder Dragon, and then activate Pot of Greed. Draws a Serp Priest and Serpent, and just go for the blowout. You're in game 3. Go for the blowout. Set the Magician and go for the Book of Moon also. Passes over. Perfectionism draws into Scapegoats. So he has no plays right now. Just activate Thunder Dragon and set 3 if he really wants to, which still isn't even the bad play. Get a Serpent back, pitch, and just set all 3 of them, man. Passes over. Picklehead draws into Knock. So Magician of Fate's gonna get him back Pot of Greed. Draws MST and Heavy Storm, so he might be tempted to activate this Heavy Storm now. Which, I mean, he has a Reaper in his hand, so I can see that happening. The problem is you've seen Jar of Greeds already, so you should assume those are all chainable. So he activates the Heavy Storm, chains Book of Moon on his Magician of Faith. So he's going to draw 2 cards, which is a Dark Mimic and a Ring. Now the Sasura Priest might just wipe out all of these cards and then set MST. Pass over. Perfectionism draws into Tsukiyomi. Let's see. Again, there's not much to do here, right? All you can do right now is set the Dark Mimic with the Ring. Those are really the only plays. Passes over. Picklehead draws into another Knock. So, I mean, keep potting, right? Yeah, just keep potting. Pot, get Regeki break meta, which is awesome. Activate. Well, summon first. Let's think about this, right? Yeah, so summon the Assert Priest first, and then just knock the face down. There's not much to think about here. I was going to say summon Reaper, but obviously he's got too many discard cards. So he's gonna swing for 3K. A Serp Priest is gonna get ringed. And then Regeki Break's gonna get set here. Passes over. Perfectionism draws into a Chaos Sorcerer that's not live. So let's see what he does. Maybe he sets the Tsukiyomi and hope it dies. So summon Serpent and just bump heads to get that out of the way. Passes over, draws into Dust Shoot. So is he gonna man up with this Reaper? I mean, it's 50-50 now, so you can man up with the Reaper. Man's up, hits what? Let's see. Hits a Tsukiyomi, which is a good card. Now set Dust Shoot. Pass over, Perfectionism draws into Tsukiyomi. Standby phase, get back, Sinister, and then Dust Shoot now. The Stork's gonna come down. And then set a monster and pass. Draws into Ring. Let's see here. Again, I mean, none of them have many options. Nobleman and then switch to defense mode would be the play. So he swings anyways. Hits a Serpent, passes over, draws into a meta, get the Serpent back. There's really not much plays here. End phase MST, draws into Scapegoats. Is he gonna keep swinging? Yeah, so he keeps swinging. Doesn't even discard, but I think this is mandatory. Yeah, it's mandatory, so he has to discard a card. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Draws into Sork, banishes the Reaper, sets Serpent, pass, draws into BLS, which is not live. Let's see. I didn't even notice that he set this Serpent. I mean, you could sack for Thunder Dragon and then go for Balter and then ring this. Let's see what happens here. So just goes for Restrict. Restrict's gonna take the Sork. No, Restrict takes the face down. Sacks for Thunder Dragon. Okay, so now he's got the Light and Dark. And this is 3,000, 4,000, 46. And that's game, right? Jeez. All right, guys. So that was game, guys. This game was a little weird. I mean, Picklehead was going really aggressive all game. I mean, all match. Especially game one. He was going really aggressive. But, I mean, it turned out good at the end. It was unfortunate that Perfectionism... Shout outs to Perfectionism because you played a really good game. But I think everybody here wanted to see you deck out. So, yeah, I mean, big shout outs to both of these guys for playing this match. Guys, if there was any other misplays or any plays you guys would have done differently, please let me know in the comments down below. If you want to help support this channel, check out my TCG player link in the description below. Or you can also check out my merch store, which is also in the description below, guys. Please don't forget to like this video. Share this video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. And I'll see everybody on the next one, okay? Peace.